Today, I'm going to be showing my top 10 tips for presenting. These tips will help you feel more relaxed, confident, and engaging on camera. Talking to a camera is daunting for most people, especially if you're not used to it. It's a skill, and one that will be incredibly useful when creating your course, as being able to speak naturally and in an engaging way will keep your students interested. However, this isn't a skill that you can just learn overnight. It's a skill that needs to be practiced and nurtured until you become an expert. The aim is to train your mind to believe that you're talking to another person. When you talk to the camera in this way, your audience will feel that connection and respond by giving you their trust, which is exactly what you need when teaching. Before we begin the lesson, just a reminder that this shot you're seeing right now is called a talking head shot. So when I refer to this, I mean shots where you, the host, are speaking directly to the audience down the barrel of the lens. Now, on to our tips. Tip number 1 is all about facial expressions. Moving your eyebrows and mouth to emphasize and express what you're saying will help engage your audience and you will look more natural in front of the camera. A great strategy is to watch yourself back. I know some people will feel sick to the stomach even thinking about watching themselves on camera, but I promise you it will help improve your presentation skills. If you feel that you're coming across as boring, focusing on your facial expressions is a good place to start. Try to move your face more. It may feel strange and unnatural at first, but that tends to be what looks great on camera. How much effort you need to put in will totally depend on your personality, but it's something to bear in mind if you're finding that your videos are looking a little bit bland. Moving on to tip number 2, which is to focus on your body language. The whole point of creating an online course rather than a podcast, for example, is so that your audience can see what's going on and therefore improve their understanding. Something I've learned is that if you turn off the audio on your videos and just watch yourself, you get a better idea of how engaging you are. Ask yourself, does your body language and expression make you want to turn on the volume and hear what you're saying? Or does it look boring and something that you would just scroll right past? Be honest with yourself here. The better you get at this, the more engaged your students will be. You can do so much with body language to help an audience really see what you're trying to say. For example, if I'm talking about something wide or something tall, I can use my body to visually represent what I'm saying. This technique, again, engages your audience and helps them understand exactly what you're teaching them. Research has shown that people who use a variety of hand gestures in their presentation are seen as warm, agreeable, and energetic. Exactly the perception you want to portray to your audience. The way you physically present your content is half of the viewing experience. And if you want your audience to stick around for the whole course and give you that 5-star review, you'd better start working on your body language. Tip number 3 is all about eye contact. If you're reading from a teleprompter, a lot of people naturally never break eye contact with the lens as they find themselves reading and reading and reading, forgetting they are allowed to blink. If you're speaking without a teleprompter and improvising as you go along, it's common for people to go the opposite way and never look down the lens. Both are unnatural and will leave your students feeling uneasy and unengaged. As I said earlier, the aim is to imagine that you're just speaking to another person, having a normal conversation. In everyday life, most people will naturally break eye contact every now and then when they're thinking about what they want to say. This is what you should try and replicate in your talking headshots. Here's some ideas to try. When you are talking about something that is in shot, look to that object to indicate to your audience that they should look at it too. When you are talking about something which is not in shot, look slightly to the side of camera to signal to your audience that you are looking at something which is just out of frame. Occasionally, it's a good idea to show your audience that you're thinking. This makes your presentation look less scripted and more authentic. To do this, look to the top corner, as this is the natural way your eyes move when they're thinking. In this course, I'm reading from a teleprompter, as I think it's the most efficient way to get these talking headshots, but I break eye contact from time to time so it comes across as natural on camera. The 4th tip is to pay attention to the volume and tone in your voice. When you're speaking to someone in everyday life, without realizing it, you'll vary the tone and volume of your voice to emphasize what you're saying. You need to do this when you're speaking to the audience for your course too. not only so it seems more natural, but also making editing easier. If you end every sentence on a high note, it won't cut together well. In real life, we tend to end sentences on a low note, unless asking a question. Try to keep this format when speaking on camera. Did that sound right to you? Hopefully not. But if we stick to our formula, it sounds much better. If you end every sentence on a high note, it won't cut together well. In real life, we tend to end sentences on a low note unless asking a question. Try to keep to this formula when speaking on camera. A lot of people I've worked with in the past have the tendency to start a sentence loudly and finish it really quietly. Sorry, what was that? A lot of people I've worked with in the past have a tendency to start a sentence loudly and finish it quietly. It's important to know that ending a sentence on a low note does not mean you have to end it at a low volume. This will make most of the clips unusable and you'll kick yourself when you're editing. Instead, you should focus on finishing each sentence strongly with good enunciation. Do use volume as a tool to emphasize points though, just within boundaries of what will be natural to your audience. Again, it's a great idea to practice all of this before you start shooting your course. Watch yourself back and take notes on what you can improve. Then you'll be less likely to make the same mistakes when you shoot the real thing. The final tip flows on from the last as it relates again to your voice and the importance of adding personality by varying the pace and rhythm of your delivery. Try to emphasize specific words to help engage the viewer. If every word has the exact same flow, you'll end up sounding like an automated robot and no one wants to listen to a robot, especially not for hours. So that's it for this lesson. Today we have covered 5 techniques for improving your presentation on camera. We discussed the importance of including facial expressions and body language in our delivery and keeping just the right amount of eye contact with the audience. Your voice should sound natural and conversational. Concentrate on enunciating clearly and keeping consistent volume right to the end of your sentences. Finally, by varying the pace and rhythm of your speech, you will keep your audience on the edge of their seat waiting for your next gem of information. If you do find yourself sounding bland, just take a deep breath and start again. That's the best thing about creating film. You can do it over and over again as long as it takes to get it right. And these tips are just the start. We have another 5 top tips to give you in our next lesson, which will build on all of these techniques. See you there.